Okay, let's be honest. Fights suck. They don't feel good. It doesn't feel good to have all of those big emotions kind of surging through your system. It doesn't feel good to be disconnected from someone. But relationships are messy and communication isn't perfect, so sometimes it happens. And I want to talk today about how it's not always a bad thing. I'm Stacy Rocklein, and it's my mission to eradicate loneliness. And the way we don't feel lonely in our relationships is when we feel seen, we feel heard, and we feel understood. Like our deepest, most authentic, honest self. That's when we feel truly connected and not alone. And we want things to go smoothly. We would like to think that something comes up and I say this and you say this and just this, there's this harmonious dance and we are all done with it. But what can happen sometimes is it doesn't go quite that smoothly and it goes a lot messy. And in fact, when a couple tells me that they don't ever have a fight, they never argue, for me, that's a red flag. Because what that is telling me is either they're not telling each other the full truth, someone is telling the truth and the other person is holding back something, that they're doing a lot of compromise, but maybe aren't getting all their needs met. Like you're gonna have some bump up against each other's, right? You're going to have some conflict. And sometimes it's going to come with hurt feelings. And sometimes it's going to be really messy. It's not going to be organized. It's not always going to be the calmest and kindest stuff that comes out. But what I have noticed is that in those moments, sometimes truth finally comes out. Sometimes finally someone is pushed to the point that they will actually say the thing that they've been keeping in. Like I've noticed every time that Noel and I get in a big one, like we've got a big argument, a big fight. And it doesn't even necessarily mean that people are yelling, but there's this big thing between us. When we finally are able to get through to the other side of it, I have always learned something about him or myself or our relationship that I didn't know before. That in a planned and perfect and polite exchange may have stayed right above that depth, stayed up here where we didn't deep dive into the real, honest truth. So there can be judgment about your relationship if you guys have a lot of arguments. I mean, obviously you don't want to fight all the time, of course, and I'm going to give you a suggestion for that in a second. But if you're getting down on your relationship because you occasionally have this messy exchange, I want you to think about the afterwards. You may have hurt feelings, apologies may be necessary, forgiveness may be necessary. But do you know something now that you may not have known if you hadn't gotten to that real raw, vulnerable, painful place? I think you'll find that a lot of times the push, the big contrast brings up the truth, and the truth, especially when it can be held by the other person, that's what makes us not feel alone. That's what makes us feel connected. Now, if you have a lot of arguments, obviously you can always just pick up skills and get a little better at that. And I have a PDF here that you can download for free that's got 10 different tips for turning arguments and fights into conversations. Like I'm all about making communication better. I'm all about, making your communication more exceptional, more excellent, so that you can have a deeper connection. So pick that up. But today, I just want you to give yourself a little grace and realize relationships are super messy. Sometimes communication is messy, and often it's the repair that is the skill. Not all the front ending, but the aftermath, the apologizing and the forgiveness and the recognizing a truth in the other person. That is magical.